What is going on, you beautiful people? It is Trellirelli here. We are live watching the release of Kujira. Oh, you can see him. Look at this little boy. This is the next Guardian that is coming to Smite. I assume, what's today, Wednesday? I assume it'll be on the PTS tomorrow or Friday. But we are going to watch the kit reveal, and we are going to see exactly what goes on. As you may have noticed for some of the kit reveals, first of all, I have this muted right now until we see some gameplay. I skip the gods that I know a lot about when it goes into the release. I know one thing about Kujira, and it's that he has some sort of AoE auto attack. That's pretty much it. I didn't even do a reaction to Lancelot because I actually play tested Lancelot before he came out. A lot of you guys still comment like, Trelly, what do you do outside of YouTube? I cast for the SPL. I work at high res. I sit on that couch all the time. And in this case, I was not involved in Kujira's announcement or anything like that. So I also turned down my mic for this because their audio is a bit low. So if you're wondering why I'm a little quieter, you're about to find out.
Mythology and into Smite.
I'm still probably a bit louder than them.
I mean, when we were thinking about this at the end of this year, right?
Yeah.
At first we had our whole god roster lineup, and then we're like, it's season 10. We gotta spice things up, right? We have to celebrate. We have to go even further.
So you probably get as to why I'm being a little bit quieter.
So we were thinking, we always have this process between whether it's the videos at the beginning of the year and the teasers, or whether it's the data mining and everything like that. We wanted to always try and find little surprises whenever and wherever we can. And this was one that we really wanted to pull out of the idea bank. We always have a lot of creative discussions and brainstorms with all the developers to see what we can really do in Smite. That
you know what? I think we're just gonna cut until we see some gameplay. I was hoping we would jump in a little bit faster, but we'll be right back. All right, we're getting to see a little bit of a model here, so I guess we'll just kick it off here, dude. The lore behind him is also super sick. I'm gonna mute it for a second. I know a lot of people were like, "What's up with this whale? You know, like what's so cool about him?" The way I understand it, he's like a Japanese spirit that haunts the ships of whalers. Like he's like, "You killed my boys, and now I'm gonna fuck you up," and that's kind of dope, man. Just like haunting people that killed other whales, and he just looks badass. Like you can't tell me he doesn't look badass. He's essentially the size of Kepri. So we're gonna jump in and see his kit in just a second. I'm hoping that he's got like, I mean, you know me, I like to see big CC immune ultimates. That's my go-to. Let's see what we got.
On Bake. Yeah, we definitely did. There are some very unique mechanics here for him.
That's what we're hoping for. Oh, the jump is so good.
That's part of the kit.
One of the greatest jumps in the game.
Yeah,
that's so good.
The animators had again a whale of a time, right? Like
whale.
Okay, that's enough. It was fine, Clumsy, but that's the last one.
Last one.
Man Harris. Right.
Well, I don't know about that.
That one is still away. Yep, that's good.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah, fire away.
I hate when they do the kit dumps. Okay, he's got some CC. There's the AoE auto attacks. Some more. Just show me the ult, man. You know it's coming. Show me the ult.
So there's a lot of stuff to see there, but there's a lot of intricacy that it's easier to.
They definitely didn't use the ult. There's no way that was an ult.
Let's start with some basic attacks. Like you have the big AoE basic attack. It looks like.
Yeah, this is something we've never done before.
Yeah, it's a big circle. That was the only thing I knew about this kit.
It's just a pulse around him. It will hit in the full 360 degrees, so enemies behind you.
That's actually really cool. I actually like that a lot.
This does mean that there were some particularly potent interactions with some basic attack items, so I am sad to inform the community that he will not proc basic attack
Oh my god, I hate that so much.
Basics. But we made sure that we were still keeping these basics feeling really fun with a lot of
no poly, no telkai. It's dude, it's like Yorm, man. Fuck.
But you know, just really trying to, as I mentioned in that
I hate that,
blog,
but I get it.
Try and go down this route of what does a solo lane guardian lane bully feel like, much like Jormungandr does over there, and trying to let him be a lane dominator.
Yeah.
And these basic attacks are a big part of that.
Yeah. And
I could see that. You just nuke the wave with like a poly shot, and
in a way
I can see it.
If you allow
I'm getting advertised too? What the fuck?
That, it would just kind of
I hate Twitch, man.
Gameplay flow.
Yeah. Yes.
We wanted to
This
make
is
sure
just
to
Twitch. I
contain
hate this.
in a way that felt healthy for his kit.
Yep.
Thanks, Twitch.
Well, I think the best way to explain that is to keep moving through the kit onto the passive. Curse of the Ghost Whale.
Yeah, so there are two kind of components of this passive. Let's start with the more passive component of the passive.
Okay.
Because he cannot proc basic attack item effects, but we wanted his basic attacks to be the focal point for a lot of his damage. Kujira will convert a percentage of all protections from items and abilities into basic attack damage. So
what?
30% of any protections that you buy or that you gain through abilities like
Okay.
say, your AO1.
So you're telling me I don't need poly because I'm just
you
going
are
full
adding
tank and I'm still
damage
chunking.
while gaining that tankiness that you need. So he's able to still buy his items that he wants to, but get those get that damage coming through really effectively.
Yeah.
Got it.
But that's not the only conversion that he does. This basic attack is capped at this speed that you see here, 1.25. He starts that at level 1. He will not gain any attack speed by leveling or by buying attack speed items. Instead, he will convert any attack speed that he gets from abilities or items into basic attack haste. So it's very simple conversion. 1% attack speed equals 1% haste. So if you build 50% attack speed, your basic attack movement penalty is 50% less.
Okay, so you could just fly around.
Shogun's Kasari, for example, being a really, really good item on him because he just gets less basic attack movement penalty. Right now, Lermy's got 100% additional attack speed from her items, and so can basic attack as she moves without slowing down whatsoever.
That's cool. Now,
That's actually really sick. I actually like that a lot.
Jump ahead just a little bit, so we'll get back to that and look at some of the additional recolors and the card arts for that real quick, and then we'll be right back in game, just getting that audio fixed up. So we have the maiden.
Okay, the audio got you. I was like, why are we looking at recolors already? I haven't even seen the ult, but okay.
A recolor that comes out as well.
They had some audio issues.
That has a card art as well that we'll show off in just a sec. Also, super duper cool. But
yeah, all of his card arts turned out awesome because there are lots of different types of gods that we have in Smite, but only one whale.
Only one.
That is true. There's only one whale.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, look at
And there
that.
it is.
That color scheme is insane.
That is
That was
nuts.
so hard.
Yep.
Not very fortunate for whoever is in that town getting rinsed.
Dude, I almost want
But
that
that's
as like a
just sometimes how
thumbnail.
it
That's
has to
so
go,
cool.
His whole personality is that he's not a particularly malevolent, ghost whale, but if you've done wrong and deserve to be cursed by him,
Cursed by him.
he's not gonna lose a whole lot of sleep over it. So
Good, as he shouldn't.
This guy who's falling
big
had it coming.
He deserved it.
Had it coming.
He messed up. His karma's getting aligned right now.
Yep.
That's
all right.
exactly it.
Thank y'all for the patience. We'll get back to the master.
Okay, that
Controller
wasn't
here
too
in a minute,
bad.
But we're going back in game. We got it figured out. So we were talking about the passive and the transference from attack speed to movement speed haste. So.
Right. So the more attack speed that you get, the less you are punished for basic attacking.
Basically.
And because he has to basic attack for a lot of his damage, in team fights we were just finding that he was just falling too far behind, couldn't really catch up to people. This was a really clean way of doing it.
And it also just feels kind of thematic, right? He
Feels
feels like
good.
this fish out of water,
Yeah,
but he's the control. He's controlling the environment around him, so he's just kind of
I like it.
really kind of liberally moving across.
I like how he's
Yep.
just flopping
So
around.
awesome to see, like you said, it's kind of bobbing through the fight. You're landing those attacks. You're maintaining your movement. So really cool and very whale-like.
Yeah.
And so those are the passive components of the passive. The one more active part is that you see this eye that's open and kind of looking around on his passive meter, and these
it's so
swirls underneath him. That means that his passive has not been procced. If an enemy god were to hard crowd control him, then they would become cursed. And that when an enemy has a curse debuff on them, they deal less damage to all targets. And we can talk more about that curse as we get to the AO2, as that's kind of the primary applicator of the cursing, but you get it as well for ending up getting crowd control.
Getting the hard CC.
So
All
when
right, now
people
let's move on to the
stun
first
you, they
ability.
do less damage to you.
Yeah,
Easy
so rough
enough.
waters. I was saying you might get protection some places, but he increases his attack's range. So you can see there it goes from
Oh my god.
it goes to 20 radius, so much larger. And he also gains a lot of attack speed. It's 50%, but
But what does that mean?
it's 50% haste.
There we go.
Hey.
So it doesn't attack any faster, but if you have 0% attack speed, you will have 50% haste from activating the AO1, and you will gain protections for each target that you hit, and that includes minions. So this allows him to really allow the wave to be grouped around him.
Okay,
and
so you
then
just get in the
pulse out
wave,
that
get
damage around
active,
the
hit some
minions,
auto
gain a
attacks,
bunch
and
of
get chunky.
protections, which he converts
Get
into
chunky,
damage
what does that
on
even
base
mean?
attacks and allows him to trade very, very effectively. So this is a big way for him to continue to build those protections. Get
I'm
a
on
little
top of
bit haste
Agro's
without
head, sorry,
having to
bro.
itemize into it, and then be that lane.
Kujira is all about zone control and exerting his own area of influence.
Yep.
He wants to be where you are, and you don't want to be where he is.
Yeah, you want to stay away. And this plays into what you said earlier, too, about item procs messing with the flow, because his kit is very wrapped around get the buff, get the auto attack, get more damage from the stats. It's all this.
I've seen zero abilities, man. I want to see these abilities. I mean, I've seen like that's pretty much it. And then like a dash. Yeah, this one.
Attacks are the primary function of the kit.
Yeah.
This is the secondary part where he just sends out this wave of water and air that slows enemies and applies a mark. You can see that little mark above enemy Odin's head. That means that they are going to deal reduced damage to all targets for 6 seconds.
Okay.
Now, the key part about Bake Kujira's kit is that he can use the AO2, put it on cooldown, and then anytime he basic attacks an enemy, a portion of that cooldown is refunded. So that he can then reapply.
Okay, so the 2 is just the okay, I got you. The 2 is just a self buff.
Exactly. That is the real cooldown. Lermy's not got cheats on at this exact moment.
It is.
It is one. Every basic attack you hit on an enemy god reduces the cooldown by 1 second, and that can stack multiple times, as you see here.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you hit a minion, then that's 0.1 seconds, because if it were 1 second, he would just have it up instantly in the middle of the.
But it still happens, right? It's not completely exempt from hitting minions. If you're doing this in lane, that's part of that kind of lane bully thing that Agro was talking about, is that you're doing this team fights, you're increasing your range in team fights.
Okay, so the 3 is the dash, and there's a reason they held the ult back. I'm telling you, I do not think they used it in that first. If they used it in the first thing, then it's very underwhelming, and I missed it. But the 3 looks like that little dash,
You're building, you're getting abilities.
and I don't know what the ult does. I have literally no clue.
That curse mark becomes amplified. So if they're cursed already, and then you curse them again, then the slow is doubled. The slow is not 6 seconds; it's only 2.
Yeah.
But the damage reduction that they deal is also doubled. So it can get up. You can reduce their damage output by 20% at max rank for 6 seconds. That is an incredibly potent curse to be putting on your enemies.
I'd say so.
And as I was saying earlier with the passive, if they already have a curse mark on them and then they hard crowd control you, that will amplify their mark to the stage 2 of that curse. So we really wanted to lean into this idea of he's cursing, he's this constant plague upon his enemies.
I like that. It ties into the lore as well. He doesn't, in this world, in this instance, the people on the other team are the whalers.
The protection that he gains from the 1, it's something that requires him to be in the fight. In minion waves, where he's just got 1 god generally to deal with in solo lane. But if he needs to get in there and fight multiple gods at the same time, he's putting himself in a precarious position. So getting those protections from the AO1, and then that playing into the passive itself is just providing him more damage. And then the 2 is there to really contribute to more.
Dude, I'm going full movement speed and just running around people in circles, killing them with my autos.
At the same time, while being within them.
Yeah, I think that's going to play into some really interesting positions in team fights, especially as people start to learn and get into high-level play, because, you're using that auto-attack movement penalty reduction to weave through the enemy team. You're trying to apply damage reduction to the back line, and, you're stacking as you move through people. It's going to be really interesting to watch Bake Kujira navigate a team fight, I think. So.
Yeah, he's, at his core, very, very simple. Lots of large area.
It's bugging me that they're holding this ult. It better be so.
Very easily, but getting that.
It better be so good.
Like, I'm constantly applying my mark to the right enemy at the right time.
It's live, so I can't just fast forward, right? Like, I gotta wait to see, just like everyone else. I bet you everyone in chat's mad.
So that my sonic wave cooldown can come back up. He's got a very high
they don't care.
at the same time.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's something that I'm always excited about.
Reducing damage output from anybody is good, but I think you'd rather hit the on her than the Kepri if you're doing a team fight. So, well, cool. Well, to help him get to that back line, we have ability number 3, Twisting Dive.
Yeah, Twisting Dive's a fun one. It's a little twist and a dive.
Little twist and a dive. Okay, respect.
It will stun and push enemies to travel with him. And what feels really great about this,
it's a Herc one.
That whether you hit them at the very beginning of the dive or at the very end, they will still get pushed to within your basic attack range. So you'll never push them away from your own potential damage. And it does allow him to set up really, really nicely for things like ganks, where if you can slow them with Sonic Wave, then walk behind them and twisting dive them towards your tower.
Okay.
It's a pretty potent.
I actually really like this ability. It's cool.
And it's not just single target, because you see that circle right before he leaves. It's one of our favorite shapes that we don't get to use that often.
Okay, dude, this ability is actually really cool.
Circle around him, and then damages enemies that he ends up pushing.
Okay, it also does damage on the sides.
That's super cool. And again, it's a whale. I love all of this.
It's a whale.
You gotta do whale things.
We wanted to make sure when developing a kit that we play up on the visuals, but you also have.
All right, show me.
Right? That's always what's going to be.
Tail slap. I don't know what.
Being a nuisance.
I can't tell what the ult is. It looks like a submarine.
So, all right. Last but not least, and this one's a little crazy. Even I don't fully understand what's going on here. So We have Yokai's Lament, the ultimate. Let's dive into this.
Yeah, it was a lot
That's
of
a
fun.
big ol' area.
It's a
That's
big old area. It was very fun seeing people's guesses for what the unique debuff would be.
A lot of people like
Yeah.
you left just enough hints for people to get it.
That's
right.
it?
Yep. So it is a big donut around Bucket, and on that outer ring of the donut, the bigger area, that is time dilation only for enemies. It will not speed up your allies, but it is a time dilation for enemies. We really, like Clumsy said, we were talking about making a whale. What would we do? Whale song really came into play. You know,
Yeah.
that's a big part of it. He begins to sing, slows down that time on the outer edges, but it isn't like Olarun where you walk into Olarun and
So
you
cool.
just
Okay,
get
he's
stuck in the
it's
mud.
slow
It
motion.
applies stacks of time dilation.
Okay.
Gain over time
another
and
fucking
then
ad.
fall off over time.
That's really important as well because this time dilation area, it's moving with him, right?
Yep.
And he can move a lot at sometimes as well. So we want to make sure that if you're constantly going in and out of this area, it doesn't feel like you're just moving in and out of mud instantly on a dime,
Yep.
but it's something that stacks on and stacks off.
Exactly. So enemies that might not want to get time dilated, which I imagine is most of them, you don't get time dilated on the inner circle. So that seems
Yeah.
like a good place to go, except unless you don't want to get eaten by the whale, because he gets bonus basic attack damage to during that time,
Yeah.
and his basic attack range automatically expands to cover that inner circle
That's
in its
central.
entirety.
Okay.
And you take increased damage from all sources.
That's what I
Not
was waiting
just
for. I was like, there's got to be
but
more.
That means you're taking increased damage from him. He gets increased basic attack damage during that time, and it's fairly significant as you get into the later stages of the game.
Yeah.
His damage isn't bursty. It isn't like, oh man, he just hit me
Yeah,
twice and
two
killed
shot.
me. But he will whittle you down. It's chunk,
Yeah.
chunk on the inner portion of that.
Okay.
It's really, really gratifying for him.
I bet.
Interesting. So slow motion on the outer circle. You get inward, and you're not slow, but he gets increased damage. Everyone gets increased damage onto you, and it's just a big ass circle / whale song. Not what I expected. I thought it was gonna be like big CC, but I guess he's not supposed to be a supporty. He's supposed to be like a Jormungandr. He's supposed to be like a solo laner. But Yorm's the world serpent. I gotta see it in game. You know, like all things, these auto attacks, I'm sure absolutely spread, but it's something that I'm not gonna be able to visualize until I've done it myself. I've never been good at seeing a kit and going, that god's good. I need to get my hand on the numbers. And this is obviously an attack speed build that Lermy has here, which might not always be the way. Like, you always want some form of attack speed, but you know, I'm gonna have to see it in game. So that is going to be Bake Kujira, the new Guardian coming to Smite. I will have gameplay for you the second that I can. When PTS is out, I'll be jumping into it. I've been putting out 2 videos every single day except for Sunday, and I will try to keep that up for you as long as possible, especially coming into the holiday season when I'm definitely going to be going back home for a while. My fiance is graduating from college, so I'm going to have to go down to Florida for that as well, so it's going to be a lot. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're excited about Bake Kujira, definitely let me know in the comment section below. It's been Trelli, guys. Peace.